It's just different levels of social contracts that I'm not used to. It's
Yeah.
not White Lotus, but it's a little White Lotus.
It's in the same neighborhood. Yeah, I think the show's doing a good job of like humanizing Mel a lot
Yeah.
because I think there's a version of this script that probably just demonized her the entire way through.
Yeah.
But I think humanizing her and being like, oh, well, this divorce between Mel and Coop is not as two dimensional as
Yeah.
Coop is wanting it.
Let's talk episode 4 of Your Friends and Neighbors, Literal Dragons. This one is fun because it picks up right where the last one left off. Coop getting caught red-handed. But I loved the cold open with the, what do you call them?
The housekeepers.
The keepers of the house.
Yeah.
There's something so short film student about the wake up, the quick cuts, the get ready, the go on the train. But yet it still
Yeah.
kind of lands with this one. I'm like, oh, that's a lot to clean a rich person's house.
Yeah.
Especially knowing they have to travel from so far away where they could actually afford to live.
Yeah, because they're not living close to their Emerald Green Estates neighborhood
No.
or whatever the hell.
Wealth has always been built on slavery, and it still is to this day, to an extent. And having hired help that commutes an hour to come clean your giant mansion, it's just not.
Yeah. And I feel like they did a good job of seeding Elena's character as the housekeeper over the first 3 episodes. Someone makes a comment like, oh, I can't believe they have a housekeeper that attractive. Like, I would never trust Paul with that or something, right?
Yeah.
And so she's kind of like been in the background of episodes. And then honestly, when they open, so episode 4 opens on her, waking up, showering, getting ready for work and stuff. Like, I was kind of like honestly confused. I was like, who is this?
Yeah.
Who is this? Like, I didn't recognize her because they did a good enough job of kind of putting her in the background that I was like, what? And then at some point I'm like, oh, she's the housekeeper. She's the housekeeper. And
Yeah.
then like I don't know, does she sleep at their house? Like, cause she was like taking a bath in their house. And I'm just like, is it cause no one was there and she was just taking advantage of the fact that no one was there to take a bath in the house? Cause I would do that.
I've done some house sitting for people with cleaners, and I'm going to tell you what. When they don't know you're there, i.e.,
Yeah.
I was in a guest room, door closed, and was sleeping in till all hours of the morning,
Yeah.
got up to go outside and get ready and whatever else, and saw what the house cleaner was doing, I was like, oh, if you think you are king of the kingdom, you do whatever you want to do. Sleeping on the couch, baths, sure, taking showers, using their bathrooms, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. If the house is yours and you're cleaning it, do what you got to do. They're never going to know. Okay.
No. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, she is taking a bath. Here's a commotion, a disturbance in the night.
Yeah.
And she picks up a gun.
Which is great.
Then she walks down and she catches Coop trying to steal that championship ring,
Yeah.
which is good. I'm not going to lie. When episode 3 ended, I was like, who I had like a day between episodes 3 and 4. And I was like, who is that? Then I was like, is it the wife? I was like, this is Mel. Mel's going to catch him and they're going to be like a duo. And this is going to be a fun thing for them to do, which would have been fun. But
fun.
The housekeeper makes more sense.
And also adds like a different element and level and stakes to it all. Of Coop was rich, having hard problems, wants to maintain rich. This is someone who's not rich.
Yeah.
Which to me adds like a fun level of what will she actually do? She has to keep her job, but also, yeah. And I love the idea that the house cleaner is always the one blamed for everything that Coop's been doing so far. Like, watch goes missing, fire the housekeeper. You have to have a fall guy, it's got to be them. Okay, off they go. Which ruins their lives, which, their whole livelihood. But I like Elena as a character. I think she's a great actress. I also think that we get a lot of balance of power. Her holding a gun is like a literal signal of, I'm going to hold some of the power. And as the episode moves on, you're like, oh, this is the mastermind. She knows how the house works. It's almost like the personal assistant of a lot of these execs or actors or whatever else. You're like, they hold the keys to the kingdom. You do the thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because basically, I really enjoyed that conversation where they're in the kitchen or whatever, and she just has this gun trained on him, just kind of sitting on the table.
Yeah.
And she's clearly holding the power and is like, no, we're business partners at this point. I'm not gonna turn you in, but we're business partners. Like, we're doing this together. And then you kind of get a montage of he's like, well, she was right. You get all these housekeepers, they talk together and they know things about us. And because we treat them as invisible, like they understand the whole demographics and politics of the neighborhoods, but yet they're like detached from it.
Yeah.
And they hold all the information, and Elena is at the center of the net, or of the web. And so she like has all the information. And so now we really know like when people are gone, or what is worth money, like what's worth taking, and what are people not going to miss.
Yeah.
And he's like, and we did 4 jobs in a week because of her.
Yeah. I like that she stops him from stealing the ring. She's like, hey, look, I understand you're mad. It's not a Cartier necklace. There's going to be so much heat on this. There's only so many championship rings. This is stupid. Yeah. And you're like, okay, voice of reason / ready to get her hands a little dirty. I like that we have a little bit of Mel and Coop's parents bickering in this one, which is kind of fun. You love to add more characters as the season goes on. This mystical, fantastical northern New York rich area is fun because it could be like 10 different places, right? We all kind of know places like this outside of the big city, whatever else. But all the same, I like this place specifically. All the richness, they're still going grocery shopping. They have help. Okay. There's the moth situation. Nick's trying to plan a party for Mel. She's hating every minute of it and just, please do not do this. But you're like, you kind of have to have a show of force. It's just different levels of social contracts that I'm not used to. So it's kind of fun to see it play out. I get it. It's not White Lotus, but it's a little White Lotus of like, how do the
it's in the same it's in the same neighborhood. I think the show's doing a good job of like humanizing Mel a lot, because I think there's a version of this script that probably just demonized her the entire way through. But I think humanizing her and being like, oh, this divorce between Mel and Coop like is not, and that she's a complex person who's going through something. And obviously in the other episode where she was keying that car, and then in the the episode before where her sweater started unraveling, and then he's got the moths and stuff, and it's clear that she's going through like some emotional turmoil because she's got a lot going on inside of her.
Which I love, because I think so often, especially with these male-centered shows, it can be so two-dimensional. Well, one-dimensional / if it's two-dimensional, it's kind of silly and just, woman has feelings. This feels like you're saying a lot more developed. I like her arc throughout the season from what I've seen so far, and I think she's just a great actress. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Amanda Peet. Thank you. Amanda Peet's just a great actress.
Yeah.
We have in this episode
Maggie.
Thank you. She comes to talk to him and to Coop, and she's like, hey, I didn't go to HR. That was all a lie, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And she talks about who's in Jack's pocket and everything else and just what's going on at the office and what kind of led to Coop getting fired. But I also love that they don't tie it up in a bow, nor does it become the full focus of the show. It doesn't just become corporate revenge. Okay, we're building more storylines and plot lines, which it's nice to see things building and to get paid off later and not all done in one episode. Like we've talked about with Shrinking, of not everything gets wrapped up in 1 or 2 episodes and it's done. I like that we're, burying little Hansel and Gretel, burying breadcrumbs as we go. But
yeah. But then obviously Sam sees Maggie leave Coop's house, and Maggie gives Coop a kiss on the cheek. And, is there anything more that's going to happen between Maggie and Coop? Who knows? I don't know yet. But something that seemed, more innocent, Sam sees. And I think Sam is rejection sensitive because of what's going on with her divorce. And she just like writes it off and just leaves. She just sees Coop, and Coop is just like, one more thing to the fire. Like one more thing that I just can't, that is just going wrong in my life and I can't get a handle on.
Yep. And on the flip side, I like that we see the little montage of Coop just popping by the pawn shop, and it's just like different outfits, different days, and you realize, he and Elena, they're running this. They're really doing a good job. They could have shown us the finer details of everything. I'm glad they didn't. We get it. The cleaner leaves something out. Here's how you do it. Okay, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
He's into the business. I think one of the things I loved about Breaking Bad was also something I didn't like later on, was like, it was so slow going with some of the storytelling. I got sick of seeing drug deals every episode. I was like, okay.
Right.
We get it. Speed it up a little bit. And it does a better job in the show of just saying, you know what happens. He breaks in, finds a while. Okay.
Yeah.
See what's happening.
Of course, it levels up. So Elena levels them up with like gear and stuff, a Wi-Fi jammer, like earpieces kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then she invites Coop to like a family barbecue and to meet with like her uncle or something who runs the security software for all these homes, and he has access to all the security codes to like disable people's alarm systems. And he basically like Coop kind of gets strong armed into like roping in more people into this, which, when you get more people involved in a thing, like it just is dangerous because it's hard to control the information, hard to control who knows about things.
Yeah.
But they get access to security codes, which allows them to be a little bit more bold in their hits, their deals, their breaking, their B&Es. And they break into a house. Coop uses the code, disables the alarm system, and then goes for a bag.
Oh, yeah. Now, do you know your bags?
No, dude. No, I do not.
That was not a trapping question. You know what? There was a podcast. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. They do these like multiple hour-long discourses on things. And one of them they did was the Hermes Birkin bag, which is what he steals here. Introduced in 1984. We're talking these bags. You just can't walk in and buy them someplace. You have to be on a waiting list. And it's just such a racket to have these bags, okay? They hold their value / increase as soon as you buy them. There's only so many of every color, design, whatever year. Okay. So the fact that this is the bag he's taking, it kind of like warmed my soul. I was like, ooh, I know about this. That's fun. This is freaking expensive.
Yeah.
And also, it's not easy to go sell one of these bags just on the black market, I don't think. But I do love that before he gets to the bag, he's like, Elena, is there a dog here? And you're like, oh, Chekhov's dog. Wonderful. We have to have Chekhov's dog.
Yeah. And she's like, no, they died. The dog died like last month.
It's a very alive-looking undead dog.
But then he picks up the bag, and there's a secondary alarm system that goes off. It's like a pressure plate for a bag. What insanity. But I guess, sure.
Well, it's an expensive set of bags. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I think it was time to see Coop get mucked up, right? Bit by the dog. We had to see some blood. We're like, okay, you're getting off 2 scot-free. Episode 4, all right. Get him a little roughed up. Yeah,
because the alarm goes off. He flees from the house with the bag in his hand and then gets chased by the dog. The dog bites him on the leg and then also grabs the bag. And then he leaves the bag with the dog and runs. And then the cops are there because, the alarm system went off. And then he's running from the cops. And here's the deal. I hate when characters make decisions that I wouldn't make. And one of the decisions that I wouldn't make is running down the middle of a street from the cops. Like, what the hell, dude? There are trees and like woods on either side of the road. Run into those, lay on the ground. Cops will never know that you're there. Just like, come on, dude. It's like the writers have never run from cops before, and so they don't know how to depict it on screen. I mean, not that I've run from cops, but I've played night games before. I know how to hide from people.
It doesn't go through a logical person's brain to be like, cops called, bit leg, middle of street. It looks good for cinema, which I'm going to say, fine. It looks good for cinema. That's about it.
Yeah.
And then you don't go to a party right afterwards, even if it's your ex-wife.
I know.
You got food poisoning. There's any other reason than to be seen around the people you've been stealing from with a bloodied leg, limping around. She doesn't even want to be there, which is nice to see her internal struggle, her complexity. Yeah. But you don't show up with a little bit of leg.
He's trying to create alibis, right? I was at this place. I was already here. I was at the party. I think the party, though, I actually enjoyed it because basically it opens with the daughter is coming in to try and find Mel. And Mel's on her bed crying. Yeah. And again, we don't really know what's going on with Mel. It could just be the anxiety of getting older. It could be that she doesn't actually like Nick all that much, or that she's like, oh my gosh, it almost doesn't matter who I'm attached to. I feel discontent. And so we don't actually know what's going on other than the fact that something is going on with her. So the daughter comes in, finds her crying on the bed, which that's a very sad kind of moment. And then she comes out, she puts on a brave face for the party, and she gets out there and she starts mixing and mingling with people. And Coop is there, and Nick brought her up on stage and was like, I'm going to say nice things about you, and then I'm going to give you the mic, and you're going to say things to everyone who's here, and just puts her on the spot. And that's kind of unfair to do. Yeah. Especially to someone who didn't want the party in the first place. And you're just kind of pushing someone whose birthday it is into doing things that they don't want to do, which is just
the worst.
Yeah, just the worst. And so then she runs away and people are like, oh, what's going on? And then Coop's sister is like, this is my chance to sign. So she goes up there and she plays on the guitar. It's beautiful. It's cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. But then you kind of get I mean, you've seen Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so good. So you get these cool moments between Steve Carell and Julianne Moore. They're divorced, but yet you can tell that there's still a lot of affection and love between them.
Yeah.
You know, where he's calling her on the phone, walking her through how to reheat the water heater. And you kind of get a scene like that where Mel has run away from her party because she's sad and she's just laying on the trampoline, and Coop comes and finds her and he's like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, are you okay?" And then they smoke a joint and they jump on the trampoline, and it's
Which we love.
really cute. You know, it's intimate. It shows that, like, oh, you know, despite the fact that their divorce was a thing and happened because of indiscretion on both of their sides, there's still a relationship there. It's still beautiful. You know, it's almost sad because they're like the roadblocks between them and reclaiming a relationship between them are so intense that, like, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but that there's still something beautiful there between them.
Yeah. It's interesting because earlier we have the fight between Sam and Coop. I don't even want to call it a fight, a little disagreement in which she's letting him know that she saw the kiss, and he's just kind of like, well, some women kiss that way. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this reality of like, oh, just because he's having sex with Sam and having some kind of emotional intimacy or whatever you want to call it, that's nothing like time and commitment that he did have to his wife. Yeah. And there's just nothing that can replace that level of intimacy with someone, especially not that quickly, which I think is fun because I think all too often, and you'll meet a lot of people who are like this, they just kind of feel like, oh, divorce, it's all done. Okay, done. No, like emotions and feelings and memories, they're part of the fabric of our lives forever. So I like that the show dips a little more into the reality of like, you may not want to be with them, but
I mean, dude, this episode hit close to home. I'm not going to lie to you. Did I cry a little bit when the episode ended? Yeah, I did, because I broke up with my ex like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we did not do a good job of staying broken up because even though we knew that we didn't want to get married, but we were still best friends and still loved each other a lot. And so we, spent a lot of time with each other. And so this scene like really hit close to home with me. And when the episode finished, I legit cried a little bit.
For the best. Yeah.
Which is, it's fine to let your emotions happen. But I really resonate with that aspect of this. Although, but then you get Sam, who is, lonely and also sad and mad at Paul because Paul's an asshole. And she's taking nudes of herself in the bathroom and sending it to Coop.
Yeah.
And then, Coop goes home. Okay, tangent. Coop is jumping on the trampoline with a leg that's been bit by a dog. And he's kind of limping around in some moments, and some moments he doesn't have a limp, and then he's on the trampoline jumping. And I'm like, where's the consistency in his leg wound?
Of all the departments to have on set, continuity is the one they often forget, and you need to have someone who's tracking it,
Yeah. Anyways, so Sam is sending him nudes, and then he has this cute, intimate moment with his ex-wife, and then he goes into his car to leave the party, and Sam is already sitting in his car.
Yeah.
And you're like, gosh, I hope that something, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I want to happen in the show, but like, I like Sam as a character.
She's great.
And I want her to get what is good for her. I don't know if that's Coop, but I also want Coop to be able to move on and get what's good for him. And maybe that's them. Maybe that's, them together, but, or maybe they're just kind of keeping each other company while their lives burn around them.
Those are good wishes. I think that moment where Mel walks off as Coop's still standing there and we hear the rest of Allie's cover of the Thompson Twins' Hold Me Now. Side note, do you like the song? Have you ever heard the song from the 80s?
Is it Hold Me Now, I'm 6 feet from the edge?
No. I'll put it in the pod. I'll put a little clip here and there in the pod. That's a different Hold Me Now. My wall, an image of you and of me, and we're laughing with love at it all. Look at our life now. My mom loved the Thompson Twins, so I have a connection to the song. But it's a song written by the band that talks about this emotional connection and fraying and being hurt. So it's like almost like they wrote this part of the show to fit the song. Who knows? Regardless. We have this moment where Mel's walking off and Coop's watching. She looks back for a second, but it's so momentary, and she turns head forward, and we, the audience, know, he's the one that's still longing the way he is, where she has moved on, and she's like, you got to catch up with me. I'm not waiting for you.
Yeah.
And I never was, and that's why I had to move on. It's your problem.
Yeah.
And we see the similar thing with Sam, where, like you're saying, she's not just the side chick, which I think would have been easy for male writers or just in this current era to do. She has complex emotions, feelings, and we do hope she gets the best. And she's seeing through Coop's bullshit. She's not being conned like maybe Mel was after years of being married. It's like, oh, no, I already have my shit. I've been through my own problems. Catch up with me or move on. That's the only thing left.
Yeah. So that's what I'll say about this show that I think does really good is the writer's room. The characters are complex. They're nuanced. They don't get easy wins.
Yeah.
You know, especially like Coop is our main character. Like it's hard to even call him a protagonist. Something like you want to root for him. Yeah. But it's clear that he's getting in his own way all the time. And so the victories aren't cheap. And it's clear that like there's a lot of room for character growth, but all the characters feel like real people.
Yeah.
Except for some of them, you know, the rich male characters. Some of the side characters I think are two-dimensional. Like, you know, that's just what happens with side characters. They're two-dimensional. And maybe for all I know, maybe those people are like that in real life. They're just two-dimensional. There's just not much more beneath the surface.
They're realistically two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that we have Mel looking over all of her gifts that she's got, her birthday party, Chanel bags or whatever, but it's a little brown bag that Coop brought, right? That's the one that she really holds near and dear to her heart. Candies, whatever else. It's kind of fun to be like, oh, you know a person, you're able to give a good gift, and at least Coop tried to show up a little bit. You know, like you did talking to her about, hey, I don't blame yourself for the divorce. I was checked out. Anything we did to the kids was mostly my fault. They're going to have to make do, just like we all are, which is really sweet. Yeah, complex characters, good. And we still have that stupid Chekhov's trunk going off. And Sam's like, you better get that fixed. Okay, when's it going to come in handy? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But it's going to be nice when it does.
What are your guesses? I mean, you've already seen more of the show than I have, so maybe.
I haven't seen it come up yet in the episodes I've seen.
Really?
Through episode 7.
Okay. Should we make guesses?
You know, here's my guess. My guess is he's going to get beat up by some thugs. We'll see later in episodes why.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be thrown in the back of his own car to be killed. I think the trunk's going to pop open the right moment he gets out of the safe. That's got to be what it is.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, I was thinking the trunk was a way to get him deeper into shit. Like, you know, because we see in episode 1, it opens on him waking up next to a dead body. And so I'm like, he puts the dead body in his trunk and then he drives around and then he's sitting there talking to Mel or something and the trunk just opens and there's a
That's good. You know I can see that.
I mean, yeah, but it's not as like karmic as what you suggested.
We'll see how the writers felt about it. Hopefully by the end of this season.
I hope it gets paid off. If it doesn't get paid off, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, don't tease us till next season. That's too much trunk opening for one, you know. Too much trunk in the junk. Episode 4. We did it. We hope everyone enjoyed it. We'll be back again next week with a review of episode 5. Your Friends and Neighbors. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Really enjoying it. Complex characters, great writing, and that's, I think, what really makes the great show stick out from the rest of it right now. If the writing's good, you keep coming back to it. It's not forgettable. Let's wrap it up there. And for everyone listening, keep watching good movies and TV and watch Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV+.